Welcome to Chris Parkin Shooting Sports. Apology for the tone of my voice a little bit today. Full of cold and I tend to lose my voice. But anyway, this gun has been so much fun. I just wanted to get the review out there straight away. Now, as you will have seen, I've reviewed pretty much every CZ457 rifle that is available. Long barrel, short barrel, 17s, 22s, heavy stocks, target stocks, fluted barrels. You name it, I've reviewed it. There's a big playlist. I'll attach it here. And there'll be some details that won't be featured here because they've been done many times on that playlist in different rifles. Overall length with the 16-inch barrel is 880mm or 34.5 inches. If you go for the 20-inch barrel, you can add another 100mm or 4 inches to that overall length. Overall weight is 2,221 grams or 4 pound 14 ounces. Number one, thank you to Sportsman Gun Centre for sending the CZ457 Ergo. You may have seen that some years in the past, I think 4 years ago, when they first launched the CZ600 centerfire rifle, I reviewed the Ergo version of that in a 308. Now the stock is essentially identical. The difference is it's inlet for the 457 action, not the 600 action. And that represents a lot of investment from the company to make the injection moulded tooling. Now, as well as the polymer, it's got some short fibre reinforcement in that injection moulding, which isn't uncommon on most polymer moulded stocks. It adds a little bit of durability, stiffness, strength, etc. Number one, it's a thumb hole layout. Nice design. It's got a lovely green colour, and you've got inlaid rubberised panels at the grip and the fore end to get a little bit more of a hold on it. You will see from the photograph that the stud for the sling and the bipod at the front is inlaid within the injection moulding. Similarly at the rear, I'll put detailed photos on screen. And I've also added the cheek piece, which is actually included with the rifle. You remove the recoil pad, there are two T25 screws, that goes on instead. Recoil pad goes back on top, and it gives you a slightly taller cheek piece position if you want that cheek piece well. And what I will say is it is a lovely slim profile, so it fits under your cheekbone without displacing your jaw to the side. That for me is a great ergonomic factor. The other thing to point out is that this stock is ambidextrous. Okay, the rifle has still got a right-handed bolt, but it's equally comfortable to shoot left-handed as well as right-handed, and there is a very slight palm swell on the thumb hole itself. So the big difference with this rifle is, of course, the stock. Have CZ done a good job with the stock? Yes, they have. Because this, I have to say, for me, it's probably the most appealing 457 of all the Sporter layouts. But let's not forget, a lot of people say, oh, what's it like at 150 metres? What's it like this? What's it like that? What's it like on paper? Well, then remember, this is more of a sporting rifle layout. It's not specifically designed for target with a heavy barrel and things like that. But what I will say is that this lovely big sloping underside on the forehead here is great to put your supporting hand under it, or a soft rear bag. Gives you good control. The sling studs are super secure and it's stiff with a bipod. There's a little bit of video on screen now of me shooting this with the fore end in focus, and you can see how that barrel is fully free floating. It never touches the fore end. Now YouTube don't like you dismantling guns on screen, so I'll put some pictures on here and you can see the action and the trigger assembly. The trigger is a single stage trigger, but it's fully adjustable for both creep and overall weight. Weight varies from about 1 to 2 kilograms, and mine actually came in just under 1 kilogram or 2 pounds in weight, and I was extremely happy with that. It's very crisp in use. I will say this, sometimes they bend in a little bit through use, but it's not a big job to just adjust them, take out that tiny little bit of creep, and the point is that then that trigger is adjustable for the life of the rifle, so it will last for the life of you, but it doesn't need it doing frequently. Once it's sort of bedded in, you know, it's a 10-minute job, it's done. And you are there with a beautiful crisp trigger forever. And you can see that actual crisp trigger performance on screen, and you get a lovely break. And of course, yes, depends if you're left or right-handed, doesn't matter because equally working either way. The magazine system is familiar to most seasoned users. 455, 452, 457 all use the same magazines. You can get them in 5 or 10 round variants. You can actually get like a long banana one as well if you want, and these are just single stack and they just pop in, easy to use, no problems, no hassle. They don't jam, they don't wear out. They're just a great magazine system. Yeah, they're not the most complicated looking magazine system, but the point is they work, and even if you've got a 30-year-old steel one, it's still compatible and it still works perfectly. Now, just to discuss the barrel a little bit, this is the light profile barrel. These are available in 16 or 20 inches. The 16 one here is a 410mm unit. I prefer the short barrels, to be honest, in 2-2 rimfire, because for a hunting rifle it makes them short, handy and fully capable. It's cold hammer forged, it's a 16-inch twist on it, and it's got a threaded muzzle for a moderator or sound break if you really want to put one of those on a 2-2 rimfire. Most people, I think certainly in the UK, are going to use a sound moderator or suppressor to our US friends, and that's going to cut noise a lot. Interesting to note, I'll put the velocity data on screen and you will hear a few cracks. That's nothing really to do with ammunition or the barrel length or the anything specifically worrisome. It's actually because I reviewed the rifle and I shot it on a very cold day. The air was 0 degrees Celsius for my American friends, and that means the speed of sound drops. And that also means that the bullet, which is going at the same speed it would at a slightly higher temperature, now is into the sort of transonic and supersonic window, whereas it wouldn't have been before. So it's really the air temperature that causes the crackers, not the ammunition or the rifle itself. Again, it is very accurate on paper. I shot all these at 50 meters, but I also did some 100-meter shooting as well, just on steel for fun. I always shoot 2-2 rimfire at 50 meters because I've got more of a chance of shooting it with precision and not worrying too much about how the wind affects things, because as soon as you start moving out even further distances, the wind has a really significant effect on actually showing how the group sizes are. And the point is, it's a rifle that is precision, it's accurate, and it's not going to give you problems if you do want to shoot it further, because at the end of the day, shooting 2-2 rimfire at multiple distance has got to be the most fun, informative learning tool in the rifle shooting world. Anyway, let's get back to the rifle. So, bolt lift is like that. Take the bolt out, there's a button on the left side, and one of the great things about the 457 action is the way the firing pin is designed. Now, I do always try and show this on screen, because if I decock this firing pin, you can see here on the ceiling camera, can you see how the firing pin has got a nice chisel tip to actually hit the rim of the cartridge, but it's got this big flat top as well, and that butts up against the back end of the flat edge of the barrel, and it means you're not going to damage your firing pin if you dry fire it, and it's a great feature. It's also well worth noting that the 457 action is common to all the 457 rifles. It doesn't matter if you have it in 2.2, 17, 2.2 WML, whatever. You can change those barrels as 2 screws at the front of the action. The barrel will then come out once those are removed, and you can swap over between the different magazine inserts and also the different calibers and chamberings of a barrel. The bolt is the same, the stock is the same. The only time the stock would be of any interest to any multiple barrel shooter in CZ457s is if you go for one of the heavy barrels, not the slim barrels, because obviously there's only so much space in the forend. But that forend, I think, is extremely well proportioned for this rifle, and it's a pleasure to shoot. You can see from the photo on screen the forend is open, but it's made quite stiff in construction. It's got thick sidewalls to it, so it doesn't bend, and there's plenty of space to hold onto it with your hand. The bedding area of the gun has got a steel recoil lug at the back here, and it's got heavy reinforcement both at the front and rear action screw, and those 2 action screws, like the back end on the recoil pad, are both T25 Torx. So it's easy to get a good torque application if you're using a torque wrench, and it's repeatable for 0. I've actually had it in and out of the stock, and it doesn't really affect 0 any more than the wind does, to be honest. On a similar note, scope mounting is an 11mm dovetail. You can, of course, if you want to at a later date, add a Picatinny rail or something to that, but for a lightweight sporting rifle, which I think is what this gun is, you know, it just works so beautifully. And the bolt operation is fast, it's slick, and you can use it without overly disturbing the gun, and you've got lovely fast firing capability from it. The trigger on my rifle broke at 941 grams, which is 33 ounces, and it's adjustable from 1 to 2 kilograms. It's fully adjustable for sear engagement and weight throughout the life of the rifle, so you can always update it if ever you get any wear and tear as the rifle ages. I shot it mostly on paper at 50 metres, as I've said. I did a little bit longer stuff on some steel. I shot out to 125 metres on steel, and depending on how long I keep the rifle for, I might do some longer range videos with it. It's been fitted with Element Optics XT rings. These ones are high, and it's a 50mm front end on the scope. The scope is an Element Optics Helix 6-24x50, and this is first focal plane with minute of angle adjustments on it. I've done a full review on this as well, which I'll link in the video, to the milliradian version of the scope. It's a lovely scope to use, and with it, of course, being first focal plane, the turrets perfectly match the reticle at any magnification, so you can either dial off or aim off your shots or corrections, and you're not going to have a problem with that. Length of pull is 365mm, which is just under 14¼ inches. Makes the rifle extremely nice to handle and shoot from either shoulder. Last thing to cover is actually using this from tripod sticks. Now, of course, for vermin shooters, things like that, shooting from a tripod these days is an extremely attractive factor. It's well worth noting that I use this with a tripod clamp on a set of box sticks, and clamped in, it doesn't affect the barrel at all, it doesn't change your point of impact, and it's quite stable to have that. I don't like rifles where if you clamp far enough ahead that you can access the magazine, it crushes the stock and it touches the barrel. That's not the case with the 457 Ergo. It works perfectly from a clamped tripod setup. So for the vermin shooter, it's ideal. So, which specification would I go for? Well, as you say, you can have it in 2.2 or 17, you can have it in 16 or 20-inch barrel. They're all threaded, so you can put the sound moderator on. Personally, for me, I would always stick with a 16-inch barrel on the rimfires, and I think I'd go for the 17 HMR because it's the kind of rifle that's going to cover all my pest control duties on rabbits through the winter, and I can also shoot the odd hare if there's anything like that for the pot. If you just want to shoot for plinking fun, 2.2 rimfire, 16-inch barrel, is there a more fun rifle to own and shoot? Well, I don't think so. And I've shot all the 457 variants. I own a few of them out, actually. And to be quite honest, I think this is a fantastic gun. It appears exactly as it feels. It acts exactly as you want it to. It has no downsides, no detriments to it. It's functionally capable. It's aesthetically capable. And I have to say, when I first started shooting the CZ600s, I think the Ergo was possibly the one I liked the most on them too. So it's really nice to see that stock paired to this rifle, you know, for the rimfire shooters. Right, well, I hope you've enjoyed watching that review. Please don't forget to like, subscribe, comment, click the notification bell and keep track of the regular uploads. And do not forget to check out the details and description box underneath the title of this video, because that is where new information can be added if necessary, or up-to-date factors and features. Right, thanks for watching. Bye for now.